Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the regular city meeting of the Victoria City Council for 13 January 2020 at 6:30. Tonight we have a little special event. Instead of the council leading the Pledge of Allegiance, we have the privilege of having Scout Troop 337 here tonight. They're going to come forward and they're going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please, if we take a minute, Troop, feel free to come up. They're going to come up here in front of the dais, and then we'll go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Go ahead and come on up. And again, this is Scout Troop 337.
We are also joined by Pack 303, my bad. Everyone please rise. I am Hunter Breakey, sorry. I am Hunter Breakey, this is Cody Hosh. Everyone please rise. Please remove all non-religious, non-scouting headgear. Please square off to the American flag.
No, it's color guard advance.
Color guard advance, I know what I'm doing.
Oh.
Color guard, post the colors. Please square off to the American flag. Scout salute. If not in uniform, please place hand over heart. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do.
Thank you. Tonight, we're going to do a number of things. I have some quick announcements, and then we're going to do a few other things from up front. First off, there will be a council workshop to discuss legislative priorities with local legislators on January 27th at 5:30 p.m. in the council chambers. Applications are currently being sought by the city for Victoria residents that are interested in impacting the future of Victoria in the following ways. There's openings on the Park and Recreation Commission, the Planning Commission, Lake and Water Quality Committee, a proposed senior committee, and that will be called Victoria Cares. Applications will close on February 21st with interviews conducted at future council meetings. Lastly, the Citizens Academy will be offered February through March and geared for people wanting to learn more about city government. More information can be found on the city website. And then Dana, you had one other thing to add?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council, and everyone here. I am excited and pleased to make a brief announcement that, and it's an honor and a privilege for me to announce that Marty Dahl, way in the back, will be joining the team on the 21st of January as our new city's Community and Economic Development Director. So welcome, Marty. We're excited to have you and can't wait for you to get started.
Marty, can you come up and get on camera for a minute so people can recognize you? We want you to be famous.
I don't know the staging. Where do you want me to stand?
Wherever you can get, there you go. Again, for people at home, there's actually a face to go with the name. So thank you. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be
Welcome.
here. Excited to start.
Oh, turn around. Thank you. There you go. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yep. Okay. All right, tonight we've got some special guests here in the audience, And what we're going to go ahead and do is go through, we've got all of the volunteers that we want to recognize. I think the easiest way to do this for everybody is we call out each volunteer group or individual. If you could, please rise where you are, and then we'll go through the whole list. So first off tonight, would the members of the Victoria Garden Club please stand? To the members of the Victoria Garden Club, that's all right, you can keep standing here. Thank you for your tireless efforts to ensure that our downtown continues to flourish. Your individual passions and expertise have helped to beautify our community. For those who are not aware, the Victoria Garden Club is a new organization and has already helped our city transform our local gardens and community spaces into beautiful sites that are truly inspiring. And for that, we thank you, and we look very much forward to seeing what the club can accomplish in the future years. So again, thank you very much. Would Ava Haynes please stand? Oh, maybe she's tied up. Ava has been a wonderful asset to the city's Parks and Recreation Department, and she has volunteered her summer to be a playground leader for our community. In addition, she has assisted staff when needed and works wonderfully with the children. We are very fortunate to have her on our team. So wherever you are tonight, Ava, thank you for everything that you've done and your time and your service. So to Ava, thank you. And Ava, if it's Eva, I apologize. Would Shelley Batcher, Troy Poppets, Clark Poppets, Chris Thulin, and any other members of the Poppets and Thulin families please stand? All right. In 2009, the city dedicated one of our baseball fields in honors of Vic's baseball team manager, Mike Poppets. Not only was he the manager of the team, but he devoted his time to upgrading and improving the field, its fences, bleachers, and more. In 2017, unfortunately, Mike passed away, but his family and friends continue to honor his memory by maintaining and upgrading the field and managing the Vic's baseball team. The city of Victoria is extremely fortunate to have the Poppets and Thulins family in our community, supporting our team activities and our Park and Recreations Department. So thank you very much for your family's time and all of your support. Would the members of the Boy Scout Troop 337 and Club Pack 303 please stand? I think you all already were. There's not enough seats. It is admirable to see a group of young adults understanding the importance of giving back to their community. It is equally impressive to have troop leaders and parents that support these young adults in their journey. Your efforts to improve city parks and provide aid when called upon, such as during our fall composting events, proves what it means to be part of a community. In addition to your hard work, you have taken a further step to pursue an interest in learning about community leadership and citizenship definitions. Earlier today, this group of young individuals interviewed our council to learn about our city and problems local government face. Thank you once again. You're a shining example and a group that is always going to go above and beyond. So thank you. At this time, I'd also like to ask Jim Moss, Dennis Brown, Kate Hilgrenberg, and Dark Hill. Darce?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Hilgenberg to please stand. I'm terrible with names. I apologize. First, thank you, Jim, for helping to gather volunteers for the fall composting event. Second, thank you to the volunteers for making this event a success and serving over 400 City of Victoria households. This group of residents clearly shows that getting great things done can be accomplished if we're working together. Volunteers of this event that were not able to attend tonight, but should also be recognized, are as follows. Pam Wells, Diane Hetzger, John Hetzger, Demeko Code, and Eric Nauman. So to each and every one of you, thank you. Now, would the members of the Chanhassen Dugout Club please stand? The Chanhassen Dugout Club volunteered their time and resources to make, I can never pronounce this right, Dithlum? What? Thank you. I told you I was terrible with names. Make that park a beautiful establishment to play at. They have added improvements to the dugouts at Park Number 3, the batting cages, as well as conducting projects such as turf and infield work on the diamonds. The organization is a great group to work with and is truly a great value to the Parks and Recreation Department. So to each of you, thank you very much. Would Lisa Hayes please stand? Lisa did work on gardening work at the Kirklocken Park, and it's increasingly being visited by many walkers and cyclists of the Lake Minnetonka Regional Trail. Due to its high traffic in visitors, we gratefully appreciate the aid we receive from Ms. Hayes to keep the park, its gardens, and its pathways well-tended and free of weeds and garbage. Not only does it help to keep our city beautiful to residents and visitors alike, but cleaning the rain gardens also keeps our natural environment healthy. So thank you very much, Lisa, for all of that you've done for our community. Would our community's T-ball and pitch coaches please stand? Oh, okay. The volunteer coaches are vital to the T-ball and coach pitch programs. These coaches graciously donate their time to teach kids the fundamentals of baseball, along with giving kids their first experience with team sports. These coaches did everything, including providing parent communications to leading practices, as well as carting around the heavy equipment bags all season long. Their service is greatly appreciated not only by the Parks and Recreations Department, but also by the kids they coach. So we can't thank them enough for their service to the community, and wherever you are, thank you again for what you've done. Okay. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody here. Would Laura Pottergois, did I get that right? Laura, are you here? Okay. No? Laura's ability to connect with the students of Holy Family Catholic High School with the community makes her a great asset to Victoria. By gathering several student volunteers, Laura was able to make a family night fun and a hit for our families. The night was a joy, full of fun, games, activities, and laughter. We could not have asked for a better turnout for the event, and Laura's help made all of the difference. Thank you so much, Laura. We hope to work with you and the school again in the future. So to Laura, thank you very much. And finally, before we end, could I ask all of the volunteers to please stand? To all of you, our volunteers, and to all who were not able to attend tonight, the city would like to thank you for all that you have done and the tremendous positive impact you've had on our community that you've served. Without people like you who are willing to sacrifice their time and resources to help, Victoria would undeniably not be as welcoming, charming, or as a desirable place to live and serve as it is. Even though you may not always be thanked, please know that to us, your contribution does matter. Thank you once again for all that you've done, and if you wouldn't mind, we'd like to ask everybody to come up forward gather in front of the dais, and we'd like to get a photo of all of the volunteers that have helped serve this city so much recently. So I know we have a large group, but if you wouldn't mind, please come on up. Hey. Thanks for all you've done.
Tall guys in the back, right?
All guys in the back?
Yeah.
Get me out of here now.
Story of my life. I'm short too. Here we go.
Come on, kids.
They don't bite.
File down. There you go.
Squeeze in. Council members, would you like to stand?
Stand on the desk. Sit up there. Here, move that microphone down.
It's really the volunteers.
I got a window.
There she goes, yeah.
Do we need to get,
Can you get in a little bit closer? Councilmember Gregory, perfect.
All right. Sorry.
All good. All right, right here on 3, hold those Chris. And on 3 again, 3.
All right.
all right, again, to each and every one of you, thank you for your service to the community. Thank you. All right.
Isn't that fun? Yeah. Good stuff, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, well, I'll
You
say,
know,
yeah.
I want to do more. Let's do this every week. I love it.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Those poor little Boy Scouts, they were yawning. Yeah.
Thank you.
You gonna stay?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. We are actually still in the open forum of the council meeting. Is there anybody that would like to address the council? Going once, twice? Okay. Go ahead. Jim, come on up. You have to, let's take a minute. We need to get that.
Wait,
Yeah, it's connected on the bottom, so we gotta be careful here.
you did a good job.
There you go.
There we go. All right, I'll make this short and sweet. Jim Moss, 1310 Wintergreen Lane. I just want to say thank you for allowing us to have the Leaf event in the fall. It was a lot of work, but it was also a lot of fun. And the smiles and thanks that we received during those 4 days, it was well worth it. So I just wanted to say, for all the volunteers that helped us, they all feel the same way. We just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, that's nice.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Okay, council, can I get a motion to adopt the final agenda, please?
I make a motion to adopt the final agenda.
Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? Dana, no changes?
None from staff.
All right, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by,
I just have a
oh,
question.
yep, go ahead.
Is that the consent agenda or is that the?
No, that's the agenda. The consent agenda is next.
Oh, okay, never mind.
We have a valid motion to adopt the final agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The agenda is adopted. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Second, please.
Second?
Discussion? Public, staff, council, anything?
I
Yep,
did have one.
yep. Which one?
7
6. You mean
One.
6? 6.1?
no, what is this?
Consent agenda item 6, or section 6.
Okay, I've got it on here. Where does it say what it is? Which one is it?
What was the issue?
What's the issue?
It's, oh, I'm on the wrong thing. Wait a minute. I just wanted to, consent agenda. City council.
Wasserman?
Nope. No, I gave up on that one. It's about the appointments of the council where we're doing,
We're going to do that part of the regular agenda.
That's,
Regular.
that's,
We will do it.
oh,
Yeah.
okay, never mind.
so no changes to the consent agenda, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Council, anything else? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Consent agenda is adopted unanimously. Okay, now 7.1.
That's it.
We'll get there. The
I was ahead of myself.
7.1, discuss committee assignments for the year 2020 and adopt a resolution related to annual appointments. Dana, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. We thought the easiest way to do this would just be to walk you through the different committee assignments. And historically, you've done, you've made appointments to, for either staff or council to the Economic Development Authority. So that would all be staff or council. And then weed inspector, data practices officials, Park and Recreation Commission, Lakes and Water Quality Committee. There are new appointments for consideration this year. I'm not sure what just happened. That was interesting. Okay, senior committee, actually, liaison, and the CARES acronym stands for Community Aging Resources and Educational Services, which ties back to kind of the purpose and the things that this committee would be responsible for. And then optional, but not required, will be the LMC policy committees and Metro City Policy Committee meetings. And staff, as we've done in the past, have participated in those. Elected officials may participate, but are not required to participate. But we wanted to give the option and let you know, at least be able to see where staff would be representing us this year, and we'll go through that. So the first one that you all need to discuss tonight is the EDA appointments. And you can see here in 2019, we have what everything was. And then for 2020, we're proposing that the staff portion stay the same as it was in the previous year. And we can do these one by one, or we can wait till the end and go through. It's whatever the pleasure of the council is.
Council, unless there's objections, why don't we just knock them out as each one comes up? Is that fine?
Sure.
Works great.
Okay, as far as this one, do we just want to do the same thing we did in 2019? I'm not opposed to any changes here.
We usually rotate.
Okay, how do you want to rotate it for 2020?
One person that's on that list should step off and I'll step on.
Okay.
Oh, you're not on it?
I'll step
No,
off.
there's,
I'll step off, then council member vote can pop in.
Okay.
okay, do you want to just take, have a preference on a position here?
Uh,
I think I have to be the
Yeah, you have.
president. Yeah.
I can be the secretary, it doesn't matter. Sure.
All right, and Judy and Deb, do you want to just keep the same positions then?
Sure.
Okay, council, without objection? Okay, do we need the actual vote on this?
At the end, like, there'll be a resolution, so I'll put in these what you decide, and then it will be as the resolution is presented.
Got it. So for 2020, I'll remain as the president, Judy will remain as the vice president, secretary will be councilmember Vogt, and Deb will remain as the treasurer, right? Okay, Dana, next one.
Next one, Park and Recreation Commission. Last year, we had Councilmember Gregory and Staff Liaison Ann Monkey, and that, the staff portion we're proposing stays the same.
I do have a question on that.
Sure.
Now that we're going to be recording the Park and Rec, do we actually need a city council member on that committee?
I think our practice is, and I think it's a good practice, is there's a council liaison to every committee.
No, we took them off the planning commission. I
Well,
tried to
yeah,
check around and I
I
don't,
stand corrected, or sit corrected, yeah. I don't think there's ever been one on the planning
Right.
commission, but all of the other ones have had a liaison.
It's my understanding that the planning commission is different. That's why they're commissioners as opposed to committee members. So they're statutorily in the, however you want to phrase that.
There's different requirements for the planning commission as compared to every other
Right.
committee.
And they had,
Yeah.
Attorney Vos, if you want to add to that.
so do we need a council member on a committee? Do we need that?
I've spent a year on the, as liaison, I know Mr. Gregory, Councilmember Gregory has. I thought it was added value for the committee members and for the council member. I really believe there is value there.
Right.
Me too, and I think the committee members themselves appreciate the fact that there is representation from the council, and I think it feels like it gives the committee a little more voice and allows them to interact with council members. I think that's a good thing. And just to point out, I've been on the Park and Rec 2 out of the 3 years I've been on the council, so I'm happy to step aside for anyone that would like to take that.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. That's the only committee I haven't been on. And with the finance committee being disbanded, I'd like to take a crack at this. Any objections? No? Okay, so we'll list me as Park and Rec. Right? Next one, Dana? Okay.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. The next one is the Lakes and Water Quality Committee. And Paul Moretto, our senior planner, is the staff liaison, was last year. We would propose that he would remain that way. And then council liaison was Councilmember Black in 2019.
So Judy and I have both been on this one. Is there somebody that would like to do this for 2020?
I would take it.
Okay,
Unless
Nope, go
you
ahead.
want to jump.
without
No
objection?
objections.
No objection.
Okay, we'll list Councilmember Vogt for 2020 on Lakes and Water.
Okay.
Uh,
Data practices officials that historically has been with staff. So we had Cindy and me, and we would propose that that remain the same.
Council, any
Agreed.
objection?
No
Agreed.
objections.
Hearing none, that'll work.
Weed inspector, the official weed inspector being the mayor, and then the assistant weed inspector was our public works director, Dave Shoger, and we would, I don't know why I have
Do
him.
they still do that?
Yes.
Well, I do want to let everybody know I did check, and there were weeds in Victoria.
To say, I
So-
think the mayor did a fine job as we.
Specifically, what does your job description look like?
It's not weed puller.
That's from 100 years ago.
It's required.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know why, this was an oversight on me, just not filling Dave's name in there, but we would propose that Dave continue to be the assistant inspector.
Oh, I see it.
As an aside conversation, technically speaking, what does this thing do?
Send a form
I
to the
mean-
state. There's a form that needs to be sent to the state every year, so.
As a weed inspector?
But what's supposed to be added to the value to the city? Is there,
State,
Is it a neatness thing, or is it a noxious weed thing? Is it a,
more of a
Mayor and
noxious.
council, the mayor is the weed inspector, whether he likes it or not, by statute. And historically, why cities were required to have a mayor and have a, in many cases, assistant weed inspector. I think it deals with noxious weeds and there was a belief once that if you didn't control weeds at the municipal level, they could get in the way of traffic, interfere with sight lines, et cetera, and so it was a very important position once upon a time. I think that historical anomaly is probably gone. We still have a weed inspector.
So
And
you and
I
Dave strike out once a year and check out the weeds?
I reiterate, we went out, there are weeds in Victoria.
Yes.
We told them not to grow too big, though. All right, I assume no objections, council will move that forward? Okay.
Okay, and then the new one, senior committee, this should be committee, not commission, CARES, Community Aging Resources and Educational Services. And we are proposing that Alyssa Swanson be the staff liaison, and then if there's a council liaison.
I'll throw my hat in the ring on this one.
Do you want it?
No objection.
No objection.
All right, without objection?
Go ahead.
Okay, Councilmember Gregory?
Thank you.
And I don't know if, and you don't have to decide this all here tonight. We certainly have time. These committees don't meet until the summer. But if you have a desire to participate and want to do that, the League of Minnesota's LMC has a number. There are 4 that meet, and these meet in preparation for the upcoming legislative session. They do their heavy lifting work, and they, for members of the public that don't know, these are our lobbying. They do the lobbying work on behalf of the city, and the city does. Cities do have representation on those committees and what sort of lobbying efforts will be going forward for the upcoming session. And so we do participate. You can see that Cindy, and then Marty Dahl, who's sitting in the back, our new community and economic development director, will be participating. And then HR and data practices and improving fiscal futures. I have participated in that, and we are still deciding who will participate in the HR and data practices from a staff perspective. So I don't know if there's anything that interests or availability for council. If you
Let me add one point here. Dana and I this past year actually went, it was part of this. It was what, the joint
it was
Metro Cities?
actually part of Metro Cities.
Right, Metro Cities in conjunction with the League of Minnesota Cities. I didn't vote at that, but it was interesting to see the process. So I think that if we want to do this, I'm not opposed to it, but the council, I think, needs to, and maybe this ties into when we have our workshop on legislative priorities, I think the council as a whole should say, here's the direction the city wants to go. Because what happens is when you go there, that individual will represent the city and vote for the city. And I think it should be in line with what the council as a whole decides. So to Dana's point, we don't have to decide this tonight. We clearly have time. But I think if there's no objection from the council, Dana, I think this needs to be talked about in the workshop. If we come to, if the council agrees on a legislative priority, at that time, we ought to also discuss whether or not we're going to send somebody to this to participate in the process.
So, Mayor, members of the council, you already have adopted your legislative policies. And so, if you're looking to expand something, we can certainly add that to the discussion, or we could add a discussion to the workshop to include that.
Right, I'm suggesting we have that discussion at the workshop when we have it fresh in front of us and decide whether or not we want to either add something more or have somebody go to focus on one of those things we've already approved.
And Mayor, members of the council, if I may, in your packets, there is a link, and in those links, you can find more information about each of these committees. And there's also, you can also access the legislative policy books, and I should have brought that with me here tonight. But they're quite thick. There's hundreds of policies, so these committees do a lot of heavy lifting. And I can see our city clerk is probably went through at least 400 or 500 in her time this past summer, participating in the improving service delivery. So they do a lot of heavy lifting and go through a lot. There are positions, when you look at the LMC represents smaller cities, bigger cities, outstate cities, metro cities, and so they generally tend to have broad-reaching policies that are just generally supportive of cities, where metro cities, when we get to that, that's really the 7-county metro area on things that really are impactful or have the potential of being impactful to cities in the metro area. And so we do participate in both. And when they do meet, it's a 4-hour meeting, so they are quite, it's a time commitment, and they only meet 3 times a month, but it's 4 hours each time.
3 times a month?
And you're
A year.
3 times a year.
Okay.
And you are going through and reading all those policies. Now, staff is very active in that. We flag things. A lot of stuff, it's part of the we'll call it city's culture, and things that, just are helpful for cities to have. And then there are things that are hot button topics that we really want to get our eyes on. 5G service being for one, the impact fees, the building permit fees that are being looked at. That's something that we're going to be monitoring closely. And those things that we feel that we felt were impactful or has the potential of being impactful are things that we already took positions on as part of your adoption of your legislative policies that were those broad, think about your local control policy that you just adopted. A lot of these things would fall under there.
Point of order on this. So we have already adopted our 2020 legislative policies, but my understanding would be what's going on this summer is development of the policies for the 2021 session.
That is correct.
So this is actually work that will be done this summer for the 2021 session.
Correct.
And then I have a question.
Go ahead.
Do we have a voice in this, or we're just sitting there looking at them?
Mayor, members of the council, Councilmember Black, yes, each city, each representation has a voice as part of the process. What happens is you get your binder, your information full, you go through, you do your research, you do your work, and then you talk about it at each committee meeting. They go through policy by policy, and when you do that, you have an opportunity as a committee member to raise your hand and say, here's where I have heartburn, or here's where I think is really important and that language has to stay, or we need to really beef that language up. So every member of the committee has a voice, and at the end, each city gets 1 vote. So we might have 2 people attend, so an elected official and a city staff person, but we only get 1 vote.
And then again, those committees probably present these to a board of directors possibly that would approve
That is
those for
correct.
their official agenda.
They approve it for their official agenda.
And then for us at the City of Victoria, we would then maybe pick and choose those policies that we want to make up our policy agenda for the year.
That is correct.
Okay, so they're just coming up with a group of policies for us to pick from?
Go ahead.
So, Councilmember Black, Mayor, members of the council, basically what they've got a comprehensive list of policies. Because we've not done this before, we just are dipping our big toe in, probably our pinky toe in the water. We don't have a very comprehensive list, so the 3 policies that we adopted right now are very broad to try to capture a lot of these things that would allow us to react during the session when things or if things come up that are important or would have an impact on our taxpayers or on our operations. And so they've got comprehensive policies that fall under all of these different areas that they use for their staff. They actually have lobbyists that go and do the work on our behalf, on all the city's behalf at the Capitol during the session and in between sessions on what's been adopted.
Okay.
So, and I think when Dana and I went there, I'm just guessing, but I think the number of policies that were talked about there were probably like 100, if not more. So these committees, right, will focus on some functional area and may come up with a dozen or a half a dozen policies, right? So it's a pretty massive effort, if you will. So the good news is we have time between now and then to kind of think about, well, is there something that we want to get more specific on to try to influence those policies? And if so, we can send somebody and try to get them on that particular committee. And then the committees are broken down a lot like the legislature where they focus on different functional areas. So, the good news is we don't have to decide this right here and now,
Okay.
but it's something that if the city's going to get more involved in this and try to have a bigger voice, if you will, in the metro area. This would be how we would do it.
So how many cities are on these committees? So how many votes are there?
So Mayor, Councilmember Vogt, members of the council, committees are quite large. It's open to all the members. There are many members. And so you can participate by phone, you can participate in person at the league policy committees. I would say each committee probably has between 40 and 50 members.
You'd have one vote out of 40.
One vote out of 40.
Okay.
And then
Or
any,
whatever that number is.
any policies that are approved, if I remember right, they said the process, it actually goes to the board of directors for final review and approval, right? So even if you approve it at the committee level, it's still not approved. It goes up to the next level. And they're the elected officials, or it's whoever the board members are. It could be staff, it could be elected officials, whoever. Do they actually have elections internally that,
They do elect a board of directors.
right, so it's the board of directors that actually reviews and approves it, and that's a combination of both staff and elected officials that make up the board of directors. They have the final say.
So we will have staff at every single one of these.
Staff will attend every single one.
Wow, that's a big job. Okay, thanks.
All right. Any other questions, council?
Nope.
Okay. Is that it?
Well, there was the metro cities. I assume it's the same conversation. I shouldn't assume that. Is there any discussion or are there any questions on the metro cities policy committees?
Same approach?
I think so.
Yep. Okay, without objection, go ahead, so noted.
Okay.
Do we need to vote on the resolution then,
Yep, and I'll fill in the blanks. No.
with the names
Yep.
already approved?
And the other ones would be to be determined for that because it's just, it doesn't have to be.
Done now, okay. Can we get the resolution up, please?
I don't know how to work.
Mayor, members of the council, we didn't prepare the resolution. There was a
Oh,
lot
I've
of
got it.
blanks.
You'll bring it back?
So we can,
So approve it as.
you could approve it as discussed and we can just,
Right. I'll make a motion that we approve a resolution relating to the annual appointments for the city of Victoria for the year 2020 as discussed.
Thank you. Can I have a second, please?
Second motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, thank you. The next item is 7.2. Dana, it's a update on the 2019-2020 strategic plan.
thank you, Mayor. Mayor, members of the council, I'm just going to do a brief update. As you know, and for those members of the public who may be watching tonight, back in April, we did a 2-day strategic planning session with Hugh Life, led by Richard Fursman. And from that, we adopted our 2-year strategic plan, and we did that in June. Our strategic plan, the purpose of that was to establish clear consensus-based direction that would guide us over 2019 and through the end of 2020. And then we would find out how to pursue the implementation of those strategies. And from that, we developed a work plan. And staff have been hard at work on that work plan and working hard to achieve those strategic objectives. There were 4 that came out of that discussion and part of our adopted plan: expand and enhance our local economy, adopt guiding principles, build infrastructure, and diversify housing. And within that, one of the things that you may have noticed on our agendas, one of the new things on our agendas is that for every item we bring to you, there's a box that shows which one that we can check, and sometimes it might be both or several. But we want to make sure that we're tying everything that we bring to you back to our strategic plan. For anyone who's interested, you can see progress and read about our strategic plan. It identifies those 2-year actions, who is assigned, who's working on it, or which divisions or departments are working on that. And then we've been regularly reporting that, and it is available on our website. One thing that we are working on right now through the new My Sidewalk tool, which is a community engagement and economic development tool that will be linked through our website. We'll be able to have a more interactive, rather than a static PDF, a more interactive page for folks here, hopefully by March. And so we'll be unveiling that, hopefully very early in the second quarter with our strategic plan. But just to quickly go through, I'm pleased to report that about 92% is either on target or complete already. And so with that, you can see for expanding and enhancing our local economy, we had several actions that came out of that discussion: developing our city-owned 13.5 acre property, updating our downtown master plan, engaging the property owners in our growth area, increasing economic activity, and increasing jobs and diversifying our tax base. And we are complete with engagement of the property owners, and we actually are continuing to have those discussions, but the ones that we had identified, we had completed, and now as we look out further into our growth area after our discussion with the township officials, we're continuing to engage property owners in our growth area. And we're on target with everything else, but we have not yet started our downtown master plan update. That will happen in 2020 as soon as Marty's on board. Great. Adopting guiding principles. We are either complete or on target with the 4 areas here. So complete with adopting our long-term financial plan, and that came through, you saw with our CIP and our, we went 10, 15 years on our financial management plan as part of our budget. Increasing public engagement, we are on target for that. Developing and applying a new workflow to evaluate our strategic plan success, and we are complete with that. And establishing and documenting a shared vision for Big Victoria, that's our south growth area. We are on target with all the activities with that as well. Building infrastructure. There were 3 actions that came out of that discussion, our adopted plan: establishing partnerships with the school district, developing a 5-year park and trail plan, and developing a city facility plan. The partnerships and the discussion with the schools district has been complete from what we have identified, and we're on target with the other 2 activities. And the final performance summary to talk about tonight is diversification of housing and developing a plan to welcome and support life cycle housing, and we are on target with that as well. And if anybody wants to see the details in this, it's available on our website. We do have a very detailed summary of what each, that dives into depth for each of these actions a little bit more, so you can see exactly what staff have been doing and the actions or the activities that have occurred under each area. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Good job. Good work. Council, questions? Nope. All right, great job. Roundtable. Dana, any items?
Nothing from staff, Mayor.
Council?
Nothing here.
Nothing? Reports. All right. Bob, anything?
Mayor, nothing, thank you.
Yeah, Dana?
I just want to quickly announce, if you've not noticed, the new neat artwork that we have. We've rotated our artwork again, and we have a photographer, Suzanne Chef, I think is her name, if I'm pronouncing that right. And she has done artwork. The photography that's displayed here is Cuba. And so we've got some color in and some vibrancy and some of the tropics coming into Victoria this winter. And so just with all of our other artwork, we will be voting. So anytime that the city hall is open, we invite the public to come in, take a look, and vote for your favorite picture.
Perfect, thank you. Council, any reports?
No report.
No report.
None? I do have one thing. This just came out, I heard about it at the community leaders meeting where the mayors get together with School District 112, County Commissioner. It was this past Friday in Chanhassen. And I think there's a lot of people in Victoria that will find this wonderful news, and that is the intersection on Highway 5 with Minnetonka Parkway. Victoria, we've got that joint powers agreement with them. I think it's roughly 800 feet is Victoria, then it switches to Chanhassen. Chanhassen's been driving that. I was told Friday, the state has agreed, and they're already working on putting in a traffic light at that intersection. It's a temporary
Wow.
traffic light with poles and not, telephone poles, not a permanent light. But in talking with some other county commissioners and others that know how this goes, with the Arboretum wanting to move their permanent entrance to across from Minnetonka Parkway, and they were down there, I saw the power company the other day down there working on that. Even though this is temporary, I don't think this is going to go away. I did ask the question, are the lights going to be timed with the other lights? I don't know the answer to that. Hopefully it will be, but I don't have a completion date, but I know that they're actively working on it. It'll be put in soon, because I think we all could agree that that's a very dangerous intersection. So for those of you in Victoria that live on Minnetonka Parkway, you'll soon be able to have a light. And a lot of kudos to Elise Ryan, the mayor of Chanhassen. It was her and her staff that drove this. The reason this occurred is because, if you recall, there's a mill and overlay project for Minnetonka Parkway, and when they do that, they're going to shut down one side, and the only way for people to get out would be to come to the south side when they shut down the north side. And they realized with that kind of traffic, as dangerous as it was with just normal traffic, when you've got cars backed up, that's why the state decided to put it in. So, again, I'll let you know as soon as we hear more, but that's going to go in. Hopefully, it'll be timed right, but at least it'll be safer for more people. So, we've actually done something with transportation. So, that's all I had. Council, anything else?
Nope, I just wanted to say Happy New Year to everyone.
Woo-hoo!
It's the middle of January, but it's our first meeting.
Yeah, it's
and
been a while, hasn't it?
I'm looking forward to a good year.
Yeah, here. Can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second?
Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned.